Hi there, everyone. How are you? And welcome back to Stress and Anxiety Reduction Podbean channel with Geraldine. How's it going? For those of you who don't know me, I'm a nutritionist, herbalist, naturopath, health coach. I was a nurse for 25 years, but now I prefer the proactive attitude of getting out there and getting people well before they get sick. I work a lot with women and children and families. Some of my most reliable clients for doing what they're supposed to do are actually the men, but let's not go there with that one. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, when I do my podcasts, I like to do one with the calming, you relax and you do nothing for a bit and really enjoy it, and one with some information that we can discuss things and I can answer questions. So, what's been happening with me lately? Well, I'm having a significant birthday in October. So, who cares? I hear you say. You have a significant birthday every year. So, what makes mine different to yours? Well, I'm turning a special number. So, you might feel that every year is an achievement. I know I certainly do sometimes. And in this crazy world, probably every year is an achievement. So, we need to live in the world that we create. And with the people who are in the space with us, we need to care for them and we need to be calm and grounded because everyone gets grumpy sometimes. Everyone says things they don't want to or mean to say sometimes. And some people, maybe they're just not very nice. I don't know. I prefer to stay away from those ones. So, to help us to be grounded and to help us cope with people we don't want to be around, some simple things in your life, like the amount of fluid and the type of fluid you drink, the food and the type of food you drink, go a long way to how we feel physically, emotionally, and socially. It also makes those of us around us, they feel supported. If we feel grounded and supported, if we feel calm and in the moment, then they feel that sameness coming from us and being imparted into them. So, but it's not just what we speak, not just what we say, not the words we use, but it's the words we write in social media, in text messages. I always end every text message with a smiley face. Same with social media, because I think, well, I don't want anyone to take this out of context, and I never ever want to say anything that upsets anybody else. But it's also when you're in the shops and you're talking to somebody you may never see again. You know, you're at the checkout teller and you're in the supermarket and you've gone through and it's been a real pain in the supermarket. There have been too many people, you've got the worst trolley in the world. It would not go straight. You get to the checkout and if you smile at that person at the checkout and you give eye contact, then they're going to feel better too. Because remember, they've got to stand there listening to those trolleys going in the wrong direction, the children screaming. And yes, it's their job, you're right. But we're in it together. We're in this world together. So, you know, when I think about how we talk to each other and how we behave towards each other, it's really easy to say something nice to those around us every day. So when you get up, saying something nice to the person who's next to you. Or what happened to me the other day is I went for a tweener massage. That's a Chinese massage. And she decided to do my face for whatever reason. So she was stroking my forehead and pressing the lymphatic regions under my skin. And she said, wow, your skin's amazing. I bet you've been a naturopath for years. And well, not really. I've been a naturopath for 11 years, but I do only use natural products. So it's not just what's going into my body, but it's what's going on my body that counts as well. So everything I use is actually very cheap. It's from the supermarket. It's just sulfate free, additive free, perfume free. And that way I'm not putting those nasties onto my body as well as avoiding putting them into my body. And the other thing that comes out of my body and my words and sounds and smiles are good as well. So I know that I'm getting an all-rounder for the people all around me. So I use natural moisturizers, I use natural shampoos, and they're actually really quite cheap. And they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. If you're all into packaging, then yeah, pay more. But make sure you're not getting all those nasty chemicals. So I thought today I'd give you some tips. So my top 5 tips: drink plenty of water. Now, we talked about fluid in one of my first podcasts and the different sorts of fluid and how lemon water can help. But I was wondering, I don't know if I mentioned ginger root. It's so easy to make a cup of ginger tea. So what I'm drinking, or will be drinking when I finish speaking to you all, is lemongrass and ginger tea. And it's got, and I've squeezed some lemon in there as well. And it's absolutely delicious. The lemongrass was growing in the neighbour's garden. It's overflowing out of the fence, so I took some of that. I know she doesn't mind. That ginger I bought at the shop, and the lemon came off my tree. So, obviously organic is best when you put your fluids and food in, if you can. Pesticide free is next best. Locally grown is definitely the top of the list. Now, I do drink coffee, as I mentioned in that previous podcast. And have you ever tried coffee with coconut milk or almond milk? As long as you're not expecting it to be the same, it's actually it's quite different and quite exciting, the flavour that you get. Because when we add another flavour to it, like coconut milk, to me, it's like some sort of liquid cake, really. It's absolutely delicious. But if you do drink milk from the cow, make sure it's organic and not homogenised. And, cheese and yogurt in moderation for our drinking and eating. So you do need to eat your fruit and vegetables every day, and fruit and vegetable contain fluid as well. They contain a good proportion of liquid, and that helps our bowels. The fibre in fruit and vegetables helps our bowels and helps us move. They help everything to move in our body, and they give us the nutrients that we need. So as a family, we eat vegetables every night at dinner. I make sure that there are always vegetables on the table at dinner time. Sometimes I get vegetables into the family during the day. The kids will take a carrot to school. My daughter eats a lot of fruit. My son, like myself, only eats 1, maybe 2 pieces of fruit a day. But they will eat stewed fruit. Of course, stewed apple is actually really good for you as well, as long as you haven't added sugar, which you don't need to do when you stew fruit. So now I'd like to be able to tell you that I've got an amazing organic garden and I've got all these vegetables growing and it's incredible, but no, sorry to disappoint. I do have stinging nettles growing though, and I've got a lot of them growing. But that's great because they actually make really good soup as long as you remember to wear gloves when you pick them. As soon as you chop them and heat them, then for some reason the sting just stops. It doesn't sting anymore, and you've got a really delicious food. So, and did you know that a recent study showed that children who eat at least 2 pieces of fruit and vegetable at dinner every day had higher test scores at school? So, it's worth giving it a try around the dinner table. So that's my fluid and my food, but my outward cleansing routine. So I said that I use the real basics. Obviously, I use water and I shower every day, and it's great. So, but oil cleansing, I don't know if you've heard of it. So it's really cheap to do. You buy a bottle of castor oil from the chemist. Here in Adelaide, it's $10 for I can't remember how many 100 mils, and you use hardly any. It's 10% if your skin is dry, 20% if it's combination, and 30% to the oil mix if you have oily skin. Castor oil is a lot thicker and always falls to the bottom of your mix. So you've decided to make 100 mils of an oil to cleanse your face. So that would mean 90 mils of maybe extra virgin olive oil or almond oil or avocado oil if you had dry skin, and then 10% of the castor oil, or 70% extra virgin olive oil or rice bran oil or whichever oil you've chosen to use, and 30% of the castor oil for oilier skin. Then if you're making that much, some vitamin E, so you can just buy the capsules and you just break the capsules open and squeeze those in. And for 100 mils, it's about 1 capsule per 10 mils, and that's only as a preservative, and it's to stop it going off, basically is what happens. And then you need to keep it in a sealed container. You use about a teaspoon, you put that on your fingers and rub it onto your dry face on top of your makeup. And you swirl it round all over using circular motions, all over the cheeks, the nose, the neck, décolletage, the forehead, everywhere around your face on that softer skin. And then you get a warm, hot or wet, as warm as you can tolerate it, but not so you're going to burn yourself, face flannel or face cloth, a wet one, and then you and then you wipe it over your skin. You lay it on the skin initially to warm the oil and warm the oil on the skin, and then you wipe it off, and you wipe off your makeup as well. And first few times you use it, your skin will be beautiful, but you might find, you maybe have an eruption or something. But then after that, it's fantastic. It's the easiest way of cleaning your skin, and it's so cheap and it's so effective, and it takes off the makeup. So it's brilliant. So that's what I use for my face. So, and I've been doing that for probably 4 or 5 years now. So not the full 11 years that I've been a naturopath. So, okay, so we've talked about our water, we've talked about our vegetables, our outward cleansing routine, and now our internal cleansing routine. So, we've cleaned our outsides, but we've got to make sure that our insides go every day. And we do that by eating fruits and vegetables. But it's a really good idea to add a natural muesli to your diet. If you can't have gluten, then there's lots and lots of other options. Some psyllium husk, nuts, seeds, your pepitas and sunflower seeds. And what that does is the bowel does this thing called peristalsis, and that's as it moves, and you hear it go, and that's the stomach moving and pushing everything downward. And if you've got a muesli in there with some fruit, maybe some kiwi fruit or some peaches or whatever it is that you've got, stewed apple, as it goes down, it collects up the rubbish and takes it out. It means that you go to the toilet easier and better, making sure you've had enough fluid on board as well. So that was a nice bit of information there for you, wasn't it? So now you're putting in good food, you're putting in good fluid, you're putting good things on top, and remembering to be nice to your fellow man. And in the morning, the first person you see, if it's a loved one, say good morning, I love you. If it's not, just say good morning with a smile, and you'll cheer everyone up. If you start the day the way you mean to go on, then you should be able to achieve it. It's always a good idea to put a positive bent on the day. If you're likely to come out with something negative, then what's a really good idea is using those post-it notes, those sticky notes, and putting positive affirmations on your mirror or around the walls, perhaps on the fridge door if that's the first thing you open in the morning, saying, hi, good morning, you look great today. So, we get up really early, and I always try for a big smile. And if I don't get that big smile on there and I don't say something positive, it is certainly reflected in my children's attitude towards me. So it's a good idea to try to remember it and give it a good go. Mindfulness and meditation. So we've got a few of these visualizations going on in my podcasts. They're a good idea to help you relax at the end of the day. But they do help you restore balance to your day. Even if you don't have time for them, maybe a walk at lunchtime, get out of the office, change your space, change what's happening with you. Don't spend the day sitting down. It all sounds really sensible, doesn't it? It's actually quite hard to achieve. I find it hard to achieve, and I'm the one giving the advice. So the people that do manage these things, you look at them and you think, how do they get all of that into their day? And they're only doing what you're doing. They're only achieving what you're achieving. We're all doing it, but we're doing it in our own time, in our own way. And sometimes it's about changing just one or two things. It's not about changing everything. It's about taking small steps, and then if you trip up, you do what you should do. You just stand back up and start again. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day. It's really cold here today. It felt really quite bitter. I don't mind. We're going to have a hot dinner in a minute with all our veg, and we'll have a good laugh around the table. So I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in your day. All the very best, everyone.